plans of doing that. I have no plans of leaving the country to hide.
What else for this matter? Jason Lugo.
Congressman Marcoleta offers himself Sir Lawyer in case tutuloy yung impeachment case against you. Will you accept the offer?
No, I think, well, first off, I'd like to thank Congressman Rodante Marcoleta for his offer to be my lawyer in the impeachment case. I appreciate it because he's a very good lawyer. He's a brilliant lawyer. In fact, he pointed out to me points during the committee hearing that as a lawyer, I was not able to see. So that shows his astuteness in the law. But I feel that he will better serve the country if he remains as a member of the House of Representatives. That is what is important right now. We need good public servants, good leaders, good officials in government. And I assure everyone that we already have lawyers helping us. In fact, the moment that Franz Castro announced last year that they are planning to file an impeachment, we already talked to lawyers who will handle the impeachment case at the time. But now, cases pala, 3. So we just need more lawyers. And we already discussed this with the first team that we hired as lawyers.
Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask how are we preparing, or what are our preparation, and how are we getting to respond to impeachment with the West Side?
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. So very recently, we had a meeting with the lawyers, and what was discussed there was the arrangements because we needed more lawyers. We are expecting another impeachment case now, so this may be 3 impeachment cases. So, and then we will await an official copy of the articles of impeachment so that they can prepare the defense. We already have advanced copies of what is filed in the House of Representatives, and they're starting preparatory works right now.
Sorry, sir.
Most of your allies and other allies have changed positions or changed their sides. How do you feel right now? And if, for example, the impeachment comes through, are you confident with the numbers both in Congress and the Senate?
No, we're not confident with numbers, ma'am, because impeachment is a legal process and a political activity. So we are confident with the legal aspects of the impeachment because all the lawyers that I asked to review the initial drafts of the impeachment complaint really said that this is not, I would say it's not an impeachable offense and this is not an actionable offense, things like that, lawyer talk. But with regard to politics, that is a different matter altogether. So we do not know what will happen.
How do you feel that you're changing sides as there
Well, that's politics. They always say that there are no permanent friends and enemies in politics. So it really depends on the person, on the politician, what path he will choose.
That's serious.
Hi, ma'am. Related to the worst case scenarios.
Yes.
The House of Government said that
they are eyeing the possibility of filing plunder, technical malversation, and falsification charges among others against you and several other officials of the OVP and formerly the DepEd in relation to the alleged misuse of the confidential funds. Have you discussed this already with your legal team, with any of the lawyers, and have you, what can you say that is a very heavy case plunder? Yes.
Yes, we have an inventory of possible cases to be filed because right now it's only the 2 impeachment cases that are filed with the House of Representatives. All the other cases, we have a list, we have an inventory, and we have lawyers assigned for each case. Usually, cases that are similar, we assign it to one lawyer. And then other cases, we assigned it to other lawyers so that we ensure that all the cases have lawyers focused on each case.
Follow-up from Senator Pogo. This is Senator Pogo from Pogo Radio Philippines. Ma'am, na-consult niyo na ba yung family niya about this? Dahil kanina nabanggit niya sa mga lawyers about sa family. Si PRRD, nakausap na po ba ninyo? And ano yung payo po siya?
Hindi pa kami nagkausap ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. I expect na magkikita kami as usual sa December 24 sa bahay ng mother ko. Likely, baka doon namin mapag-usapan yan kung man mapag-usapan namin dahil madalas kasi kapag nagkasama-sama yung pamilya, lalo na pag nandyan yung mga apo, ay yung mga apo yung pinag-uusapan ng pamilya. Nagsabi si Pangulong Duterte na magpapadala siya ng pera para sa pambayad daw ng mga abogado kasi alam niya na napakaraming mga abogado ngayon ang kinuha para sa iba't ibang mga kaso. Pero nagsabi na rin ako through my brother kasi yung kuya ko yung sinabihan niya. Nagsabi ako na huwag na lang siya magpadala ng pera dahil nakapaghanda naman na kami para sa impeachment case. Kasi sinabi na impeachment case. So sabi ko, nakapaghanda kami sa impeachment case. Kasi nga, last year, nag-announce na si Franz Castro ng impeachment. So the moment na sinabi yon, and the moment na nakita namin na tuloy-tuloy yung attacks against me, ay naganda na rin kami para sa mga abogado.
Lara Cepeda from Trade and Singapore. Now, you already mentioned that your lawyers are prepared to answer any impeachment cases, but the opposition groups who have filed the complaints against you are accusing you of being evasive in your answers and the alleged corruption and misuse of millions of confidential funds.
Ma'am, baka you can offer an explanation also to taxpayers. How, kung above board po ba talaga yung paggamit nitong mga confidential funds para matapos na rin, ma'am, yung question once and for all.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not being evasive. If you are referring to the budget hearing and the hearings in the House of Representatives, I'm not being evasive. I am not answering the questions because they have no authority to ask confidential questions. I am answering questions about the use of the money in the Commission on Audit, and there is no, you ask the Commission on Audit if there was anything at all that they can say or see that we are not cooperative with the audit. So it is wrong to say that I am evasive. I am definitely not answering questions about the use of the fund, about confidential funds, because it pertains to national security and the lives of the people involved in intelligence operations. And yes, as I said, we have fully cooperated with the audit process of the Commission on Audit, who has the sole jurisdiction to ask questions about the use of confidential funds. In fact, 2/4 of the Department of Education are already cleared by the Commission on Audit, but it is still being questioned inside the committee in the House of Representatives. So that is the reason why I am not answering questions from the House of Representatives. Plus the fact that, as I said, it is an attack. It is a political attack. If you are in aid of legislation and you want to legislate about confidential funds, you do not target one office and terrorize and torment the employees of that office. What you do is you do a sampling, a random sampling of the offices who have confidential funds. Why not call the office of the president, who has billions and billions of confidential funds, if you want to legislate about confidential funds? So that shows that they're singling out the office of the vice president. And I really feel that it's very disrespectful to the office of the vice president. That is also why when they ask that I respect their process, respect begets respect. So if they want respect, they should first respect the office of the vice president. That is what I was saying, that they don't like me, they don't like my person, they don't like Inday Sara Duterte, but they have to respect the office of the vice president. So if they want to investigate confidential funds, they don't single out one office.
I understand, ma'am. VP, just a follow-up. Was it yesterday or the other day, the House also alleges that over 400 names and unexcited acknowledgement receipts, again, on the issue of the confidential funds, wala daw pong records at the BSA. Ma'am, you can offer an explanation because we know that this is a legal proceeding, pero pinag-uusapan po siya ngayon, ma'am, sa bahay ng bawat Pilipino. Kaya explanation if this is about board or bakit wala silang birth certificate.
No, I will not explain. I will not give an explanation because it will entail that I explain intelligence operations which will compromise offices who do intelligence operations. It will really compromise how they work. So no explanation will be given to the members of the House of Representatives.
One final follow-up from me, ma'am. Then what's your response to accusations that an office like the DepEd and the OVP have no jurisdiction naman to have these confidential funds that are spent for national security?
Well, the confidential funds was the first transfer of confidential funds was from the office, from the contingent funds to the office of the vice president, and this was approved by the office of the president. The next year confidential funds was 2023, and we submitted it to the Department of Budget and Management. It was approved by the Department of Budget and Management, and therefore it implies that it was approved by the Office of the President because it was included in the National Expenditure Program, the NEP. So, and then it was approved by Congress as well. The only reason why we did not use the confidential funds on the fourth quarter for both offices because I was already flagged by a friend inside the House of Representatives that they will attack you using confidential funds. So yes, it was duly approved by the Office of the President and both houses of Congress as well as because it was included in the General Appropriations Act. So it was not, we presented it, we defended it, they approved it. We used it, and then the question on utilization is under the Commission on Audit. That is how the system works. They cannot use or they cannot twist the system according to their personal interests. Really, all this circumstances and events happening surrounding the office of the Vice President is a race to the presidential election in 2028. Unfortunately, they are attacking the office as well. So, dyan ako medyo, and the personnel of the office of the Vice President. So, dyan ako medyo pumapalag. Wala namang problema kung atakihin ninyo ako kasi politiko naman talaga ako. Pero may problema ako pag inatake yung opisina at yung mga kasamahan ko dito sa opisina ng pangalawang Pangulo na nagtatrabaho lang.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah, good afternoon, Madam. Good afternoon, Madam Vice President. I'm just gonna pick up on Mara's line of questioning. You said, and I understand your explanation about these confidential funds haven't been approved by several layers in the government. But maybe just to go back to the basics, if you can explain to ordinary Filipinos why the Office of the Vice President needs confidential intelligence funds.
Okay, yes. For the Office of the Vice President, it's not the first time that the office has granted confidential funds. During the time of Vice President Binay, the office was already given confidential funds. The confidential funds we use in relation to our work and national security. All the projects and the programs of the Office of the Vice President target poverty alleviation. There is a direct correlation between poverty and national security. So what we do is we want to target the areas where we put our projects so that we achieve peace and order, security. So we don't want to our projects put in areas where it is not needed for poverty alleviation. So we want to prioritize the areas. And the only way to do that is to use confidential funds to purchase information. So where are the target areas? We need that so that our projects will serve these areas. So that's why we needed the confidential funds. In the Department of Education, there is a correlation as well of the education and national security. In fact, that is one of there is a correlation as well of education and national security. There are so many threats to education, not just insurgency, and threats to the Department of Education personnel and students as well. And we wanted to target projects of the Department of Education as well in the most vulnerable areas and schools. That is why we needed confidential funds. It's all about national security. And the position of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education is that national security is a holistic concept. It's not just one, territorial defense, sovereignty. No, national security is about food security. It's about quality of education. It's about poverty alleviation and everything else that we need to do as a country to get us out of this poverty rut.
But you are in the NTF-LCAP, so couldn't have your offices work with the NTF-LCAP as well as other government agencies that actually have national security mandates?
In the NTF-LCAP, they are only about ano yung meaning ng LCAP? And local armed conflict.
Local communal conflict.
And local, LCAP. So that is very specific to that local conflict and communism. So as I said, the projects and the programs of OVP target poverty alleviation, and there's so many factors affecting poverty. And there are so many threats to education, not just insurgency.
But there are also other government agencies with national security mandates that you can work with, your offices can work with.
Yes, that is true, but we work far faster if we are allowed to purchase information and target our projects immediately on the certain school or certain barangay or certain municipality. We move faster if we can target our projects.
Okay. Going back to the confidential funds. That was also part of the confidential funds, but the names that are being verified by the Philippine Statistics Authority, I know you said that you can't explain because they're confidential in nature. Maybe just a yes or no, because other names have cropped up. Aside from Mary Grace Piatos, we have Chippy McDonald, Fernando Tempura, Carlos Oishi, Raymunda Nova. These were mentioned in a column at the Philippine Star, and Joel Chua, Congressman Joel Chua was quoted. Are yes or no? Are these code names?
Nakalimutan ko yung sagot ko. Sandali. I cannot explain confidential funds because it will entail explaining intelligence operations. And there is a law that prohibits officials who gathered information because of their office to divulge it in public. So it's the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. There is a specific provision of law. You cannot divulge confidential information that you received while in office.
So you won't even say these are
No, that's
just
because
code names.
that will add to cases that may be filed against you.
One last, sorry.
Yes.
Why the choice of a letter submitted to the NBI instead of an affidavit?
Wait, hold on. I can give you a very short answer with regard to ARs. I had nothing to do with the preparation of ARs. It went down to the grassroots level. So I had nothing to do with preparations of ARs. I was up here in the structure and money went down for information.
So you have no knowledge why all these names were used in the acknowledgement receipts?
In the first place, we do not even know if these are ARs which came from DepEd or OVP to COA, because there's a chain of evidence supposedly. In law, there's a chain of evidence, handling of evidence. So right now, nobody can really answer that because nobody knows if these ARs are true. Because we don't know if it came from us.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're alleging.
Yes, that's what they're saying.
Came from the OVP submitted to COA.
Yes, but there is a legal process in the custody of evidence. So right now, we really cannot say if the ARs came from us because the ARs that are with us has not been checked with the ARs that are with them.
You're denying that the ARs came
No, I'm just saying that we do not even know if the ARs with us are the ARs that are with them, because the ARs from the field, going to the office, going to COA, that's not how you do legal work. It's not how you do legal work. There's a very stringent process in evidence. That is why even if there is no law prohibiting a person from divulging confidential information, person cannot answer that because we do not know if that paper that they're holding was a paper that came from the OVP and DepEd. Because there was no marking of exhibits. That was what I was telling Congressman Chua. You cannot ask the OVP personnel to say yes or no to exhibit that was not marked as real and true, as correct, and as a faithful reproduction of the evidence of the office.
So would your offices then be willing to certify?
No, because there is no question about that from the Commission on Audit. It's only a congressman saying that this paper and asking what is this paper about. There is no case, and that is to ask that about the paper is the sole jurisdiction of the Commission on Audit.
So then if the Commission on Audit asks,
That is what I was saying. We have been fully cooperative with the Commission on Audit. Everything that they asked for, we submitted. That is why there was a partial disallowance only. And even then, we are not yet finished with the process because we can still submit documents that are required by the Commission on Audit. That is the problem right now. As I said, they are doing work that they are not that is not under the mandate of the House of Representatives. They cannot audit. They cannot question at all. They cannot make me answer and say that we represent the taxpayers and we have to answer. No, I will only answer to the Commission on Audit because that is the body who can ask us questions about the fund use.
next question, Catholic Able Rivera.
Afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, on the issue of your budget not being reinstated or restored, your reaction first on the decision of the bicameral conference committee.
Well, we do not expect anything about the budget of the Office of the Vice President anymore. As I said, before I was saying that I am not the problem. I've been saying that I am not the problem. The problem of the Philippines is kahirapan, kagutuman, corruption, and all the other peace and order issues. But it is clear right now that they consider me as the problem already. So I will not help them solve the problem.
Ma'am, a follow-up question. It's nearly January already. Your office will be filing a new budget request for 2026. How much do you intend to ask from Congress for 2026?
We've not discussed that. We need to wait for the budget call because the budget call outlines the rules of your proposal for budget for your office. So we need to read the budget call before we can sit down and discuss a budget proposal for the Office of the Vice President.
Ma'am, at top of mind, are you still considering to hike the 733 million, or will you be happy operating on the same expenses in 2026?
I cannot answer that because there are rules. They usually put conditions in the budget call, and we really need to read the budget call to draft a proposed budget.
Last two questions.
Just to follow up on the budget, in the previous interviews, you said that you cannot give a definite answer on what will happen with regards to your satellite offices, given that the budget was not final at that time. But given that the VICA already decided not to reinstate your original proposal of 2 billion, what would happen to your satellite offices? There are around, I think, 10 satellite offices across the country.
Yes. Well, we have to see if we can continue with the projects that they are implementing. We need to see if the projects are still there, and then if they can still implement the projects. So that is something that we have to discuss with the Execom of the Office of the Vice President.
Ma'am, nandun po ba yung possibility of shutdown? And then ano po yung nasabihan na po ba yung mga affected personnel just in case na magsha-shutdown nga itong mga satellite offices?
galing sa central office ng Office of the Vice President, wala kaming sinabi sa kanila. Pero since nababasa naman nila sa media yung nangyayari sa budget, I am sure that they are preparing themselves as well.
Good afternoon, please. It was mentioned before na pull-out yung security na papalitan. Meron na po bang update dito? Tsaka sumulat po ba kayo sa AFP regarding this?
Yes, wala pang update doon sa pull-out and replacement. Nag-aantay kami sa Armed Forces of the Philippines kung kailan nila gagawin yon. Yes, nagpadala ako ng letter sa Chief of Staff ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Meron lang akong mga nilatag doon na mga requests. Pinakauna doon is hindi na kami tatanggap, hindi na ako tatanggap ng replacements. So kung magtanggal sila, hindi na nila i-replace. Iwan na lang nila kung ano yung maiwan. And kung wala mang maiwan dahil tatanggalin nila lahat, I already said that I will seek security arrangements outside of the Armed Forces of the Philippines already.
Parang yun na naman, mag-outsource ng kayo. Kasi normally naman, di ba, pang Vice President, may naka-designate dyan from the AFP, from the PNP. So, dahil nga, yun nga, may pull-out. And so, ang plano nyo para mag-outsource na lang kayo.
Yes, we are exploring private security services. Yes. So, my husband.
Would that be considered as a private?
No, because there are professional security services. So that's not considered as a private army. And I do not know if these individuals are allowed to bring guns. So that makes them less of an army ma'am kung wala silang. Pero hindi ko alam yung sa professional security services. But that is one option that we are preparing for in case there is a pull out of the entire security detail from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Initially, I asked my husband, and then he said that he'll make arrangements.
How much are you estimating for that?
Well, wala pa kaming we have not requested for proposals yet from service providers. We have not requested a proposal yet. So, but I think only Filipino organizations or agencies are allowed that kind of service within the Philippines. I think, Mama, I do not know. But I know that they are Filipinos, yes. No, I don't. No, ma'am. No. But no, I do not feel secure. As I said, that there's always been bias because when you see, say for example, DOJ, iniimbestigahan nila yung PRESCON. Pero hindi nila iniimbestigahan kung bakit kami umabot doon sa PRESCON na yon. Iniimbestigahan nila ang threat ko, no? Pero they've not ever investigated threats against me, which are all documented, but we do not give them the information because we don't trust them at all.
Last two questions, right then.
Kasi sabi ko nilang mga congressman po, ma'am, kasi parang contrite lang daw yung threat ninyo. Parang it's just an imaginary threat. Like for example, si Asintre nagsabi na imaginary daw yung threat ninyo, unlike doon sa sinasabi na threat daw yung threat to the first family and speaker. So your take on this po? Kasi parang dinidismiss po ng mga congressman na kayo po ay nag-threat, binigyan ng government threat sa inyong buhay. Parang sinasabi nila, hindi naman, parang imaginary lang yung threat ni Vice President as opposed to sa sinabi niya doon sa press conference. What's your take on this?
Yes, we have documents, sir. We have screen caps, we have photos, we have police blotters, we have everything on file. But I never talked about it before because I felt na it was part of my job as vice president. You get that, diba? So, and it does not affect my work. So all the more that it was inconsequential for me at the time. But right now, seeing that they are picking out words that I said and making a case out of it and saying that these are threats. So I think they should start with where is this coming from? That is the question that they should ask themselves. But I don't think they'll ever ask that of themselves. So we'll just move on to the cases and the impeachment and whatever will come in the new year.
Maybe you mentioned that you regret saying or making such threat to the president and the first lady and the speaker.
At no, ma'am. Buti na yung alam nila, ma'am, na pag namatay ako, hindi talaga ako, I will not die in vain.
CP, you mentioned the 2028 presidential elections that all of the attacks of the Marcos government now is all connected to 2028. The last time, the sitting vice president, a very popular sitting vice president, was investigated for corruption allegations and refused to respond in the public forum. Natalo po siya sa elections, and I'm referring to former Vice President Senator Martinez. Ma'am, are you concerned that your enemies would be able to turn public opinion against you and it will hurt any potential plans of you running for president? You're leading surveys as early as now.
I've not seen the recent surveys, but yes, that is what they are trying to do, turn public opinion. That is the strategy. Yes. Yes. I am now po ang audio.
Speaker. Nasa kabilang speaker yung audio. Nasa ibang speaker. Nasa kabilang speaker. Wala ka na nag-ipan. Yan na. Wala pa rin. Lipat yun na lang.
Ayan na. Yes. But yes. So, yes, that is what they are trying to do, turn public opinion. That is a common strategy in politics. Black propaganda and everything. Will it hurt my chances? I'm not yet a candidate. So, right now, I am just the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines and working for the country. So I am not yet a candidate, so I do not know if this will affect me. Maybe my decision in 2026 will consider what is happening right now, but I cannot really say with finality what will be the considerations for me to decide to run for president. As I said, just give me the last quarter of 2026. I think that is the best time for any presidential candidate to decide to run.
Ma'am, pero hindi po ma'am, kasi ito, lumalabas yung keyword ngayon, yung D9. Para kayo ginagawa ang D9, yung task for former Vice President Quezon Martin. Hindi po ma'am, binipinay kayo ngayon kasi malakas kayo ngayon this survey and possibly tinutukod nila kayo para mawala yung political counting sa 2028.
Yes, oo. Yan naman ang sinasabi ko eh. It's all, these are all political attacks. from the attack from the left on the confidential funds, the meeting with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the attack on the budget, and the other attacks that you see in social media. So these are all directed to remove me from the race, yes, and then of course remove me from office. Ay, that needs a sit down. Ay, naku. Talaga. Sasabihin ko sa'yo, you know, paano ko nalaman na gusto ni, na plan or gusto ni Martin Romualdez na mag-president? Ay, naku. Talaga. Sabihin ko sa'yo. And this is personal knowledge. Kasi narinig ko talaga. I was there. So, kaya alam ko sa simula pa lang, narinig ko yun, okay. Wala lang din sa akin yon. Kasi lahat naman pwedeng tumakbong presidente. Diba? Ang hindi ko lang in-expect, yung gagamitin mo yung buong gobyerno, sirain yung isang tao. Yan din. Kailangan magdesisyon ng taong bayan. Gusto niyo ba ng Vice President Martin Romualdez? Yan ang tanong. Kasi, yan naman kasi talaga yung plano niya. So, kailangan mag-decide ng taong bayan if you want somebody sitting there na hindi ninyo binoto.
Thank you.
No, I'm at peace. I'm at peace with whatever happens to me. I've already accepted that whatever happens to me, that will be God's purpose for my life. So I am at peace staying and finishing my term because that is my contract with the Filipino people, and I am at peace going if I will be removed from office.
Okay, thank you.
Taken out of context, kung sabihin yung galing sa kay President and First Lady.
Hindi ma'am, ang tinake out nila of context is tinanggal nila yung kung yun at iniwan lang nila yung gusto nilang gamitin. Yun yung sinasabi ko na taken out of context. Dapat when you appreciate the message, you should take all the words together and not just take out the things that you want to use against the person.
Mabalik ako ng mabilis lang.
Yes, sir.
Security lang. Kapag nag-hire ka na ng private security, first time na nangyayari yan. Hindi ganito klaseng setup. At umabot sa ganito at saka kung matuloy yun, that would give an impression na makakatiwala ka sa mga private security. Kasi din sa mga people in sources.
Yes, sir. Kasi sila din naman yung gumawa nun, sir. Ang sinasabi ko lang naman sa kanila is, kasi sinasabi nila palitan, sir. Mahirap kasi, security is fundamentally a trust and confidence position. So it's difficult to entrust your life to somebody you really do not know, and that's you just put there by somebody who you do not trust as well. So it's a very difficult position, and well, it's a very difficult position, and I actually pointed it out to the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I told them that there is a line of succession. You're supposed to protect your number 2, your 1 and 2, because that is your reserve. Because one day, if you don't protect your 2, one day you have no 1. If you don't have a 2 and you don't have a 1, you don't have any 1. Diba? That is in the Constitution, and they are supposed to protect that line. Babalik na naman tayo.
out of the 865 na employees na kami. So, with that regard, plano yung pag-outsource ng private security, do you plan to get the same number of security or much higher considering that you said that you have
Yung 400 plus, approximately 400 plus, it was combined PNP and AFP personnel. When the PNP pulled out all the personnel of the PNP, ang naiwan na lang is 334. AFP personnel, and not all of them are working for security. Some of them are working for admin, some of them are working for budget, some of them are working for supplies. So there's a lot of, there are several offices inside that unit that don't work for securing the person. They work for operations of the entire unit. So, ilan lang dyan, sir, ang nasa security talaga. Yun ay close-in security.
Ma'am, yung kung nila-trust na appointing person, is it BPM for the chief of
Ay, silang lahat, ma'am. I don't trust anyone right now except myself. So, hindi ko na maalala. Ito lang nakaraan. I think this week siguro or last week. I don't trust my memory on that, pero very recently. Yes.
Thank you.
Sana naman next year na tayo magkita-kita ulit, ha? Sana naman, sa January na, please. Ha? Yes, oo. Tayo ba ako? Thank you.